All right, guys, Zion's Custom Upholstery, where we make it fun for buns. We got this 2016 C300 Mercedes. Just want to show you guys something right quick. For a lot of you guys that do it yourself, totally understand that. But anyway, we're gonna repair this seat here. You can see that the perf has split on the stitch, and not so much on the seam, but on the stitch. If it was just a regular seam, then it would be kind of sunk down in there like that. Two different pieces of material meeting each other, creating a seam, one stitch. Right here, there is no seam because this is really one uniform piece. This is one uniform piece. Mercedes just decided to put a stitch across it to give the impression that it's two separate pieces. But anyway, that's not what I'm going to show you. But we're going to repair that. We're going to remove the insert here, this entire inserted perf, because again, it looks like it's more than one piece, but it's just one solid piece with several stitches going across it. But that's not what I'm going to show you. I want to show you guys something in case you're going to take your seat out of your Mercedes or this class for any reason or another. I want to show you guys something on the Pretensioner. So as you notice, I've already taken out the mounting bolts, front and back, and took loose all the relevant connections, seat belt, airbag. And you want to do that after you have disconnected the negative battery terminal. Very important that you disconnect the negative battery terminal prior to disconnecting any of those relevant connections here. Very important that you guys disconnect the negative battery terminal first. So we got the negative battery terminal disconnected first, and then we disconnected all these clips here. Oh, I dropped the phone. Yeah, I'm shooting this with my phone. Didn't really have time to go through all the changes of hooking up a GoPro camera. But one thing I also want to point out that your yellow, anytime you got a yellow connection on a seat, is indicate your airbag. So just always remember that. Something dealing with your airbag, your safety restraint. It's dealing with your safety restraint system, your SRS, and that is tied to your airbag. But anyway, so I'm gonna see, can I set this camera, well, my phone, up where I can show you guys what I want to show you regarding your seatbelt Pretensioner sensor. For some reason, those smart guys over at Mercedes, they decided to connect the seatbelt to the seat, and you just can't disconnect your mounting bolts and then pull the seat right out. You're gonna have to disconnect your seat belt, which is attached to the seat. So let me try to show you what I'm talking about here. Let me see, can I just sit this camera right? You guys kind of bear with me here. That's probably all screwed up, but I'll pull you right back here. Let me just turn the seat at an angle that I can show you what it is I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. All right, let's get the camera back. Yeah, she has a pine cone in here. So anyway, as I was saying, the seat belt, and this is not uncommon for the seat belt to be attached to the seat itself. It's common in a lot of cars, but what's not common is that, and I'll show you here. Let me just get this mounting bolt here that has the seat belt anchored down to the seat behind this trim. So if you kind of pop up the trim right there, you can gain access to this T-nut bolt here. So let's get it loose. And I should have had my other camera still on my phone, but guys, kind of bear with me. This is a T50 torque bit that's holding that in. Okay. So we got that loose there. All right, now this is where it becomes uncommon. So now the pretensioner, the seatbelt pretensioner here, should have just came right on out after we took loose that torque bolt. Should have just been ready to come right on out, but again, German engineering at its finest decided that no, we're just gonna give them another hurdle to jump. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. So this is the seatbelt pretensioner here, and this thing would normally, you would think it'd just come right out now that we took loose the mounting bolt from the base of the seat, that this would normally just come right out on most cars, but it won't here because the pretensioner has a sensor here for the SRS system. So what basically happens in the event of a car accident, and you're wearing a seat belt, this little device here, this little pretensioner, there's a little explosion that goes off in there, and it'll lock the seat belt up, you know, keeping you from being slung out the window. But after the accident, this little pretensioner here will have to be replaced because of that little explosion. And so that's why sometimes you may get a car and you go buy a used car from somebody, not from a dealership or a lot, but somebody, they may be selling a used car, and you try to grab that seat belt and it's locked, it doesn't move. And it's because, sometimes it's because the pretensioner there is bad or has, you know, been used in the example of an accident, and it has fired off. And so it'll need to be replaced in order to unlock that seat belt properly. But anyway, that's another story, I guess. What I want to show you is, now that we have the mounting bolt disconnected, we still can't get the seat belt off of the frame. And there is a wire that's connected to this sensor that runs here and here to one of the motors, and then on to the main wiring harness. So it can turn into a real mess trying to get that loose if you just decided that, hey, well, I'll get it loose from another spot and not here on the sensor. But that's gonna really turn into a can of worms with trying to run that down on where to get it loose, because this one wire, it splits as it goes into the main wiring harness, and becomes a problem. So just basically, you have to get it loose right here at the sensor. You have to take the sensor loose, the pretensioner sensor loose, in order to take out the seat belt so that you can get the seat out. So anyway, long story short, this is how you get that puppy loose. If you know, you don't want to yank on these, sometimes people just, you know, kind of gorilla and snatch them out. Maybe they'll put a screwdriver here and pry it, you know, just pry it open like that, and you'll damage the little connections that's off in that sensor, and you'll get an error code reading on your dash indicating that you got a problem in your SRS system. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is, and hopefully you guys can see me, try to put the camera right there. There's a little groove there, a little notch, and you just want to get you some type of flathead screwdriver here and get it down off up in there, get it down in there, and just turn it. Okay, see how we turn that, and it open it up, and that's going to allow you to properly remove this thing. Let's see. Can you see? Okay, let's wiggle it out with one hand. YouTubers who make videos, you guys understand the one hand dilemma. One hand wonders. But anyway, that's how you want to remove the seatbelt pretensioner sensor properly without damaging those little connectors in there and bringing damage to the sensor itself. Can turn into a real costly repair. So yeah, you just want to get you a screwdriver right off up in there, a little flathead or a little pick tool, give it a little turn, and it'll open up this sensor housing and allow you to properly remove it. And then you can, and let me show you another thing here. Well, just point out, ain't really showing you a whole lot. But what we normally do here with seat belts is we'll go ahead and we'll put something to keep the belt from retracting down. Let's see, I know this camera angle is a little funky. Sorry about that. But what we normally do here is Zion's Custom Upholstery, as a result of some of the things we've experienced, we like to put some type of clip or any type of thing to keep the seat belt from retracting down off up into the retractor housing. And it may not be an issue on all vehicles. We did have it on the old Dodge where once the seat belt retracted fully off into the retractor, it had to be reset, and it was really costly because we don't reset those. We send them off to the professionals that do, and they're pretty proud of their work, so they charged us a hefty price to reset that seat belt simply because it retracted into the housing. And so we try to avoid that now at all costs, even on vehicles that it may or may not apply to. So I went in and just got a little clip here, and I'm just gonna pull the belt out, pulling the belt out, and then I'm just gonna put this little clip on the belt. And if you can see that, let's see, I put that little clip on the belt there to keep the belt from just retracting off into the housing retractor, and maybe creating a need for resetting. And like I said, it doesn't apply to all vehicles. It's just a cautionary measure that we take here because of something we've experienced in the past with a previous customer's vehicle. So you can see how long the belt is out now, because we just don't want that problem no more. So now there's the belt and the pretensioner, and the sensor, as you can see, is still attached to the frame. And so now we can get the seat out. So just wanted to show you guys that, dealing with your 2016 Mercedes C300 and the seat belt pretensioner and seat belt pretensioner sensor removal, so that you guys can get the seat out and do whatever you're going to do and not run into another problem with your SRS system from damage. So Zion's Custom Upholstery, where we make it fun for buns.